Cannon, in your opening remarks you mentioned a future programme for government for the coming administration should have clear policy objectives and set key targets. I'd like to ask each of you what would be your top three, two or three, key targets that you'd like to be judged by in 5 years' time.
Okay, Alex first.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, the programme for government back in 2016, I was part of, and we were all part of doing, started out as a very good idea. I think it became overly complicated, overly cumbersome. It was quite hard even for politicians who've been part in the genesis of it to remember all the KPIs and everything. And certainly, I'm sure, hard for the public, particularly when you then followed it through the next 5 years. So I think the first thing we need to do is have a much simpler programme for government or government plan that's in Alf Cannon's manifesto, so that you actually have the definite outcomes you want to achieve. And some of those we've already talked about. There access to affordable housing. How do we judge what's affordable? Do we do that in terms of earnings? How do we assess that? And then how do we make sure that we review that on a regular basis to make sure that we're delivering on that? We also need to tackle poverty, looking at average earnings. We also need to look at a whole range of other things in terms of climate change. We've got the plan there already, but we need to invigorate achieving that to make sure that we're spending the right budget, make sure that we're hitting targets, and make sure that we're aiming for the more ambitious target as well. In terms of education, we need to look at outcomes for people and also the access to preschool education as well and preschool places. And also predominantly we need to look at the workforce to make sure that people are getting the right wage. So one of the aspects from the recent Timor Poverty Committee was a commitment that was agreed by the Council of Ministers to transition so that the minimum wage met the living wage. We also need to make sure that income support and a range of other benefits are linked also to the cost of living, rather than increased arbitrarily according to how much money is available from Treasury. So there's a whole raft of things there, but at the end of the day, the priorities have to be developed by members of Timor and actually communicated very clearly to the public, and then we need the regular review to make sure that they're implemented and achieved.
Okay, Paul.
Yeah, thank you for your question. Paul, good to see you again after a couple of weeks. Of course, Timor will really set the island plan in terms of approving the detail of the policies within that. But I have set out to determine, both in what I've said today, but throughout the last week or so, to deliver what I believe and highlight what I believe are the key priorities. And first and foremost for me will be the economy of this island and making sure that we have a robust and sustainable economy, but also that we've grown the economy over the next 5 years. And I repeat what I said, without a robust economy, without an economy that's growing, without an economy that's offering opportunities for people on this island, both young and old, and without the drive of those, particularly in the private sector, to push forward, then we're just simply not going to have the financial muscle that we need to deliver on all the other aspects that we want to deliver on. So that will be indicators of where I would like to see in terms of shaping the next island plan. And then also climate change. And I have put that down as one of the key priorities, but also I'm looking for the next council to agree a pragmatic island plan to deliver on our climate change objectives, and I would like to see a roadmap attached to that really tries to outline the high-level costings and how we're going to get there. But I'd like to see that delivered within the next 12 months so that we can actually set out and start delivering in a visible and transparent way in terms of those commitments, and also alongside that, where the other benefits are going to come from our economic progress, such as solar panels and the investment and skills that are going to be needed within our construction industry to deliver on upgrading our housing stock. And then finally, the other two critical areas for me are going to be healthcare and education, and attached to that particularly, I would like to see us in a much better place in 5 years' time. I certainly want to get rid of these waiting lists. I'm sure that the new Council of Ministers and a new House of Keys in Timor is going to be one of their key priorities is going to be tackling this extended waiting list so we can deliver better healthcare and give Manx Care a chance to breathe. And finally, on education, I'd like to carry on with some of the work that's been brought forward by the Economic Recovery Group, the range of training courses. We set out 1,000 new training courses in 12 months, that kind of speed of delivery, branching out across society to give people the best opportunities, reach out to training, enhance both skills, but also give people opportunities will also be vital.
Lots there. I'm sure we'll come back to one or two of those subjects and other questions in more detail, hopefully. Okay, Roger, next.
Alan Cope.